Hi there! Today I'm going to work a bit on the game I'm making for HAchubby. This format would probably be better suited for a live stream, but the way I'm recording audio doesn't really allow for live recording. But if you like this format, you can follow me on Twitch for when I do get my new mic. I will link my channel in the description and in a comment. What I wanted to do today was work on a new mechanic, and that is the bow and arrow mechanic. I already have a functioning bow and arrow implemented, as you can probably see in this clip right here.
Games. Korean regulars. What game? What game?
And since then I've changed it up a little bit. Now ignore this, this is just, I will explain that in a moment. But what I can do now is I have a bow and arrow and it can fire and land somewhere. And the longer you hold the button, the stronger the arrow gets. And it should, I haven't tested it out yet, it should work with other skins as well. And it does. At least it seems that way. Let's check that out. This looks like it's working as well. Great. The arrows will despawn after 1 minute of existing, and this is just to prevent lag. Now this is supposed to be the enemy. At the moment it's just some placeholder sprites. And I'll show you what I did right there. It uses the same horizontal collision as the player, but I have removed vertical collision to make it float and give me a little bit more freedom with placement. Once the object is created, gets a random value for the state, 1 of 3, and sets a timer, and the timer resets itself and gets another random value. So every 20 frames I get a random number from 1 to 3, and this will result in 1 of 3 states. Now what I need to do is I need to add some collision that if an arrow hits this, this will 1. Get destroyed, and 2, it will add a value to something. That can be done very easily. That as soon as it is destroyed, it adds to a global variable. This game doesn't allow for death. It's a really non-punishing game, but I want to have these ghosts pose some sort of threat and not be just floating targets. So what I think I'm gonna add is that if we have a collision with the player, we teleport the player back. Yeah, equals ID. We just declare the place as 0, doesn't really matter. And we say that the obj y and x coordinate is equal to the x and y coordinate of the checkpoint. So we can just say place dot y and place dot x. That should work in theory. Let's just check that out. Put a checkpoint here. We need a collision. There it is. I'm just gonna make a and then test it out by colliding with the ghost. Now, in theory, as soon as I walk through this, my X and Y should be saved in that, and if I touch it, I get immediately teleported back. That is just great. Now I have a functioning checkpoint system. Let's continue. I think the first thing I should do is definitely add a sprite to this ghost. To do that, I'm just gonna hop into a sprite, and I'm gonna make a new sprite that is 16 by 16. That is the standard size I use for my game. Now, how should this look? We could go with a classic like ghost look, but I think it would be more interesting having some sort of reference to HAchubby. I think that this look could be somewhat interestingly put into a ghost. Let's just try that. Oh, that looks like a boo. Let's just use that. I can always change it later. And I'm gonna import that. And I definitely need to crop that. That is way too big. I'm gonna change that, definitely. But you know, it looks way better than before, and I now have like a more tangible idea of what this will look like. Let's just see how this runs, you know? Alright, we now have a ghost that is moving weirdly. In theory it should set this to, yeah, and I get teleported back. Now something else that I was thinking about adding was like a chasing mechanic, that the ghost is like somewhat going into your direction. What would be a reasonable distance? This is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's about 100 pixels roughly. So I think if it's less than 100 pixels, if the distance to object player is less than 100, that does not work. What did I do wrong? That was a little mistake in my thinking. What I want to do is not follow the opposite direction of where the player is, but relative to where the ghost is. Remove the current position from the X position of the player, and if it's to the right of me, this will be positive. If it's to the left of me, it will be negative. That's pretty much exactly what I want. Let's test that out. That seems to... okay. Yeah, that kind of works. I think I should make this as a state, and if I'm on top of them, if the ghost is on top of the player, I'm just gonna switch that state back. I'm just gonna add that state equals 4. Then I want to set the state to equal 1, 2, or 3. So let's just get I random 3. Oh wow, that is not supposed to happen. No, my thought was I could solve this problem by just, adding like a if the distance to the player is less than, but that doesn't account for vertical distance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simply take this and then I'm gonna add 2 more if statements. We want the state to be a random number. Alright, the ghost is following me, that's nice, and if he reaches me, he just stops. So he's just like a creepy dude. That does not look like what I had intended. I think what might be happening is that something switches. Yes, this one. I think I should just set this instead of a random. I should set the alarm 0 to whatever time it is next. 1. Because otherwise it would constantly switch it, like every frame it would do that action, which is precisely what I do not want to happen. So now we have this ghost that has... what? Oh, the checkpoint wasn't set. Right, I renamed all of those assets that have to do with ghosts to stalker, because this stalker is a way more fitting word for the behavior of this entity. But it does have a little bit of a random behavior to it. Okay, I like that. If a collision with the arrow occurs, the image speed to, like, I don't know, 2. And it sets an alarm. And that alarm will destroy that object. Okay, we have the bow, and we're gonna shoot this guy. And it kind of worked. Okay, why are they doing that, but this one is not? Why is that happening? Does it have to do with the Y position? Now it turns out that that was precisely what was wrong with that. So I went ahead and I added the same thing that I had to check if it was left or right. And I had the same thing, but with a negative statement. So it checks if it's more than 10, which means it is 10 to the right, or if it's less than minus 10, which means it is to the left. And now if I have a bow, I can destroy them, and they follow me if they're in a certain range, and they follow me even if I'm to the left of them. I think I've achieved everything that I set out to do. I have now a ghost AI that follows the player, and it can be destroyed with the bow and arrow, and then set some variable which would allow to progress the level. And with that, I'm gonna say thank you very much for watching.